live the life beyond the boundaries we set on ourselves, to live and to run boundless, to be inspired, to achieve, to overcome the mountaintop in our life. Embrace the journey, become boundless.
Today, family, we have another legend in its own right. I like to call him, in my mind, I like to call him the solid assassin. And we come to running. He competed in numerous races from 200 meters, 5Ks, marathon, and ultra marathons. Family, let's welcome Alan Guevarra. If I say that Guevarra,
Guevara, Alan
Guevara.
Guevara.
How
Thank
you
you.
doing, my friend? How you doing?
Really good, Kenneth. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and being interviewed by you.
I definitely got a unique story, to share with the world, So hey, definitely good to have you. So, but like I say, most of the people know you, in the trail, and know you're running life, But tell us, the family, about your life journey, before you started all this crazy running and all that, the process you become the Alan that we know growing up.
I was born in the city of Tijuana in Mexico. I was born and raised, obviously, in Tijuana. And I have a brother who's older than me, 5 years older than me.
Okay.
And when I was like around 24, 23 years old, I moved to the US. So basically, that's after I did my college. I did all my schooling in Tijuana.
Mhm.
I got my bachelor's, and then I moved to bachelor's in computer science, and then I moved to the US. So the job.
Oh, that's pretty cool, So at 5 years old, and when then you had a special moment at a summer basketball camp. You had your first day of being an athlete. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So back in the 90s, don't actually remember which year of the 90 was, but I was, well, actually, I was, so at the age permitted, he was 6 years old, right? So I saw my brother, he went to the camp, and then I wanted to get in, right? So my dad went, he got me in. I don't know how, but he got me in. And then I was 5 years old. So I was,
Yeah.
for some reason, they permitted me to get in and a year younger. So imagine I was like the youngest kid,
Yeah.
um, like I shouldn't have been there, right? So it was definitely a challenge for me, especially because of the age. Yeah, it was special moment because they had like 10 basketballs, and then at the end, so the team was called Dragones de Tijuana, right? So it was a really famous basketball team in the city. It was a professional team,
Okay.
and they had professional basketball players. Even I think they had two basketball players from the US. One, it was
Nice.
Steve Weiss. I don't know if you remember that guy's from I think it's Colorado, the college he came out from there.
Colorado. Okay.
And yeah, it's Steve Weiss, and he was there back in the day. Steve Weiss, it was like the biggest basketball player and all that,
Okay.
even in the country, right?
Yeah.
So the interesting part is that they had these basketballs, and they were all signed up by the players and the coaches. So the purpose of that, it was at the end of the camp, they give that away to the people who showed up the most advancement in sort of like a recognition, right? So they can
Okay.
recognize the kids.
Yeah.
And I got one. My brother got also one.
Yeah.
But what was really special about that moment is that the coach stood up in front, and then he gave up a little bit of speech to recognize one kid among all the others, and how impressed the coaches and then the players, and will show out his performance, right? willing to go every single day and everything. So that was me.
That's great. That was a special moment, that you been recognized, at the basketball camp, and got that assigned basketball, so that definitely really mean a lot, especially at 5 years old, give it the confidence you need, I get to continue to go on. Yeah, so that's great. But you didn't stop at basketball though. You continue on to seek other interests, and so you went for basketball, and then you went to soccer. So how would that transition process like for you?
I want to learn how to play soccer. Back then, I was seeing soccer on the TV, so it was perfect, right? It is absolutely perfect for a kid. He loves to see soccer on the TV, and why not he start playing it, right? So I did that. I went to the soccer, and it was a local team made up from a neighbor who had his kid. He wanted to have his kid to play, and then he wanted to get around all the kids, the neighbors, and just put them to play, right? Put them together to play, and that's how I started in soccer.
Okay, then. That's good, like that. But then they didn't stop there. We continue on. And then running came calling in your life. So how did you get started at running? Who inspired you to start running? Who inspiration?
Actually, I saw the Olympics, right? And I remember Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson?
Yes.
And that was my favorite runner to see back then. It was like his body position, the way he ran, and it's like anything like I have ever seen before, right?
Yeah.
Because if you see, like even nowadays, his body position to run on the track is not. Well, some will say it's not really like it should be. Yeah. So he runs like a little bit different. But even that, I mean, I was following him, and then my brother got in again. He got again into the to the running. So before going to running club, now this is the interesting part. I want to get into the race. So I was really young, and I was really, really young enough. And then I went to the 200-meter flat race on the track. So while my heat was supposed to go, and I was supposed to warm up, right? So my mom took me, and then we were sitting on the benches, and then it was this neighbor, this lady, Yolanda, actually. Yeah. She got really close to the Pan American running races on the track. So she was really, really good. She really got into that level right up there. So I didn't know what she had done and everything. So she was just talking with my mom, and my mom said, well, look at all those kids that are warming up. You should do that, right? You should go back and forth and just start running, right? Just so you can warm up. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. This lady asked me, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? So me, without even think about it, without any hesitation, still to this day, I don't know where I got that from, but I immediately responded, I want to be an athlete.
Well, aside all that, being an athlete, you have your life challenges as a kid or to a young adult. And so one of the life challenges that you mentioned in your bio was anemia. So take us a little bit to that process of how that come about and what it had take for you to overcome that hill in your life.
So that was difficult because a small kid had to discipline himself to do that. And part of that, because how I got to that health issue, it was because all this indiscipline, because I didn't want to listen, I didn't want to pay attention, I didn't want to do anything. So it was really interesting because the doctor, through one of the sessions, he asked me, well, what do you want to be, right? Or who you want to be? Do you really want to grow up? And I was like, yeah, I want to grow up, but I don't want to eat, right? So yeah, like the same expression that you did, he did exactly the same. And he was like, how you want to grow up, but you don't want to eat, right? And I
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. And I want to be like this soccer player, right? Back then it was
yeah,
Roberto Carlos, right? From Brazil.
yeah.
So that was the the um, the professional, the athlete that I was following
Okay.
in those days. So I said, well, I want to be like him. But he said, well, he's like in this height, right? You want to be higher than him, right? You want to be taller. I mean, you want to be taller than him
Yeah, yeah,
because he's still a short person. And I say, well, I don't care, but I want to be like him, right?
yeah.
But I don't want to eat. So we were like back and forth with that. And yeah, that was during the process. And at the end of the program, which
Yeah.
it probably ended like around 22 years old,
Yeah.
something like that.
So you start by 22. So you were 12 years old. We started that process.
Mentioned the injections, iron, and then B complex, right? The vitamins. So the iron, the 9 injections that I have, and all those injections, the 6 other plus injections, it was just to feel the appetites, right? Because I wasn't feeling any appetite, so that was just to feel an appetite. And then during the process, I was like eating every single. And then, like I was saying, it was tough because during the process, I was like eating, and while I was eating and the breakfast, you have to go and take the bus. And then since you don't want to eat, you feel the appetite, but your stomach is so small, right? So in order to, you have to make it grow, and it's like a muscle. You have to force it and eat. And then as time progresses, then it's going to grow, and then you're going to be able to consume more food, right? Calories. And then I was eating, I was having this issue that I was like, every spoon that I was getting in, I was trying to, it was going out, right? Like literally I was throwing up in the plate and then going back again. It's going out, back and out, and then hurry up because you have to take the bus and you have to be on time, which I was always late, right? For some reason, I'm still always late to well, not always, but most of the times I'm late to the places for some reason. And well, back then I was late because of that. And yeah, it was a struggle. And then after school, I was eating. I was like sitting on the table, on the chair, eating, and literally it took me like an hour just to finish one plate, right? And I was sometimes I was like, it was so much struggle that I was like sleeping.
Yes.
It was taking me too long that I slept in the table. I woke up and I still have the plate and I still have to finish it, right? Because you have to finish it and you have to write it down on the book.
Wow.
So and then the dinner, it was the same. And yeah, well, that was a process. At the end, like I was saying, at the end, I was my final intake of calories. It was like anywhere between like 5,500 to 6,000 plus calories a day. And imagine that's a lot of work.
At 22, you think you learn how to be disciplined? Do you go and do all of that process? You learn how to be disciplined?
Yeah, let's just say that process in my life about the nutrition part, the health part, that issue that made me disciplined in many ways. And also it helped me how to it helped me, I learned about a lot about my body.
And during that process, out of that process, you really got focused more on running, I like to say. So take us the experience of doing your first race.
First race, well, like around I was 21, I did my first full marathon, right?
Okay.
So that was in Pasadena. That was 2010.
Okay.
2010, that was my first one. Supposed to be stretching up and everything. I did my own schedule. And then I went for it. I did it, and then Pasadena, I did it again, and I was so happy because I finally got the medal. I did it official. Getting windy. I wasn't feeling the wind. I wasn't even feeling the temperature of the wind.
Yeah.
So I knew, based on the experiences that I have been through, that I was in the deep problem, right?
Yeah.
So I saw this guy. He was like laying around. He was pretty worse condition than me. I gave him my water, or like almost my water, almost everything. And then I went to the almost at the peak, like 0.8 of the mile to get into the 8th station, which that was mile 26, I think, and 26 point something or 25.
Yeah.
Then it was a guy with the water, with a gallon of water. So he said, "Well, you need water. Are you sure you don't need water?" Because he saw me in the conditions that I was, so like I was saying, I had different bag, not the one that I needed to. The bladder, I was having all trouble. It was all water bladder, and it was all shitty bladder. So I was having trouble opening it, and I spent like a half an hour there. And then at the end, I wasn't able to pour water on there. So I left it and said, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna walk up there. As soon as I start walking at the middle of the climb, it was this lady coming down, and she said, well, you have to turn on your number because you didn't make it the cutoff time by 3 minutes, right? So I couldn't make it by 3 minutes. And so she said, basically, well, you got two options. You stay down there and then you get the water from there, or you can go up to the 8th station, just refuel, eat something, and then wait for the car so we can take it to the finish line, which that is what I did. And that was the first experience, right? And then, so imagine all the ego of pride, it went out from being up here, it went right to the floor, because I have never in my life been to that point, have a DNF in any race, obviously, because you're doing short races, and I have never been like even quit or anything. So that was really hard, and that taught me a lot. And then I went to Noble Canyon, which was in September, and then I did it, and with a different mindset, I saw everything and everybody in a different way. That's why I say it is good to DNF. When you DNF, don't feel bad, because it's gonna teach you a lot of things.
I totally agree. Just in life, you know, you're gonna fail, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna mistake, but just learning from it. You know, some of the best runners in this world, some of the best trail runners had a DNF. You know, I had an interviewed someone yesterday. You know, a top trail runner. You know, in trail running community. She had a DNF, but that didn't stop her from learning from it, overcoming it, and coming on the top. You know, female or male, whatever trail runner it is today, you know. So definitely, you know, it's a learning process. It's learn, just like life, learning from failures. And from there, you take that didn't stop. You continue on to attempt more feats, or more like bigger races, bigger goals, you know. And so I think last year you attempted the Tahoe 200. And that was pretty experience to you also. And for the people out there who don't know about what I mean by Tahoe 200, 200-mile race on foot, you know. And so take it to your mindset to doing that, you know, to want to do that, and you'll probably want to do it again. Well, take us through that.
It goes back to the even from the boxing days, the full marathon days when I was doing that. So the reason why I started running the full marathons is, like I was saying, is the greatest thing that a man can do, based on what I was seeing on documentaries, seeing on TV, seeing on the Olympics. I thought it was the maximum distance. I had to take the maximum distance because I'm looking for a purpose, right? I have this purpose in my life that I'm going to. And that's the same that I have been taking even to the ultra marathons when I knew the 50K and then the 50 miler. Now we have to remember before going to Tahoe 200, that same year I did my first 50 miler.
Okay.
In the same year, I did my 50 miler, the first 100 miler, the first 100K, and then it was Tahoe 200, right? And I found the race, Tahoe 200. And I said, well, yeah, into the wait list, right? Next day, I went around South Lake Tahoe. I did the bike ride and I said, well, this is beautiful, right? It was the most beautiful places that I've seen, right? And especially for the bike ride. And I was like in love with the place, right? So I went back to the house during the week while I was recovering. I saw the trailer, so they had this movie, like if it was a movie, right? Like a movie trailer that they have for the race, and I saw that, and I said, well, this is specifically, this is perfect, right? Because of the environment, seeing the full moon, and then the lake, the reflection, everything is beautiful, right? But what I saw about the race, it was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for in my life, sport-wise. I've been like every single like ultra that I've been doing, and in between there's 200-mile bike rides.
Yes.
And I haven't been, since the year started, since the 50 miler, I haven't been over 2 weeks without doing a long distance.
Right.
And even that, after the 100 miler, I did 3 weeks after that bike ride, which I met the guy. Excuse me. Since I met the guy, he told me about the race, and then I did triathlon, which was 70.3, the half Ironman, right? Because I also done triathlons in life.
Okay.
Even the full Ironman, which was the year before.
Couple more questions. What brought you the greatest joy in your life so far?
All right. Probably the answer that most of the people were really looking for about me is that anything related to sport, right?
Okay.
No, that's not the answer. That's definitely not work.
Okay.
It definitely has to do a lot with the people that I've been surrounding to.
Okay.
But the thing is, like I was saying, the sport and all the other things are just like an expression, or like the way I express everything that I've been through. And I have to go back to the when I was having my malnutrition problem, right? Which is anemia. So that successfully coming out, and then one of the sessions that I was with the doctor, he actually said, even though, like I was saying, his doctor has been with professional boxers and everyone. He said, you're one of my top patients that I have ever been. That I have ever had the pleasure to work with, right? So and I remember I asked him, well, even the professionals, and they say, you know what, especially the professionals, because since they're different. Right? They're different. And all that, and having that experience coming out, and whenever I finish a race, I'm about to finish every distance that I'm about to finish, even if it's a half marathon, since I'm feeling so good, or maybe not feeling so good, or whatever, I look back and I always get that emotion, right? And that takes me back to those moments, right? And then I say, you know what, it has been done a good job, and it has been people, right? So that has helping me. And then look where I'm at right now. And you see these people, especially with the wife, because let's be honest, on all the races that I've been in, the ultras, they have been one way or the other. Even in Tahoe, they weren't physically there, but they were. When I finished, I looked the social media, and it was like, man, I didn't even have a clue what this thing went through, right? So it came out to be something so big. So coming out from that, and then going to the past, seeing that, and then seeing where I'm at right now with the people I'm surrounded with, that's what brings me joy. It's not exactly finishing a race, doing this challenge or the other, doing the bike ride, which was amazing. Yeah, but it's it's just let's just be honest, it's just a
Okay.
bike ride, right?
Yes.
It
Yes.
it that's not the joy. The joy is what you learn. Is the joy is to be with the people. The joy is to look back and see all the progression that you have done.
Yeah.
And this is just the example that everything that has been done in the past.
Oh.
That's the joy that I find in life.
So that's great. I love that. I love that. I love that, my friend. So, what is your boundless motivation or thoughts? A few words.
Motivation.
So you're boundless.
What I would say to anyone is don't ever allow yourself to think that your pain is greater than others.
Pain greater than others. Okay.
So it has many different meanings.
Yeah.
Then again, depends from the perspective that you see, and depends on the perspective that you read in that quote, whatever you want to call it, phrase.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends from the person. It depends on the perspective that you see in, how you want to take it. You can get different meanings for that.
Okay.
Some people, they will say it relates to stop feeling sorry about yourself, right?
Yes. Yes.
Finish your ride, right? If you're running, you're riding the bike, or you're swimming or whatever. If you're breathing, right? You're still breathing, still alive. Just finish the race, right? Enjoy it.
Okay, so the pain, you know, I got to finish over the pain. But I guess we all experience pain in some kind of way, you know. So yeah, it just no matter how we approach it, the pain that we're going through, or discomfort that we're going through.
I would say discomfort. I call it discomfort.
Okay, that's cool. So saying that, you know, it's great. You know, just yeah. So no, don't allow your discomfort to stop you. But we all got to go to some kind of discomfort. You know, and they all to get better. We got to go to get out of our comfort zone.
It's good. Well, pain. Yeah, pain is always good. Fear is always good. Like whenever you hear people saying, "I don't have fear," or this or anything, they're just lying. I mean, because there's no way they can get rid of the fear. You can control it, and you can manipulate the fear based on your experiences, and you can, and however good you are psychologically, you can manipulate that, and it's gonna help you out, but there's no way you can get rid of the fear. Or and then the pain is just, it's good is because it's gonna put your feet to the ground, and it's gonna say, hey, pay more attention to what you're doing. It's gonna it's good. I always say fear and pain is good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for your time. We're taking time out, and now just all your active lifestyle to join me in the Live Run Boundless family on this interview. You know, I don't hate to say an interview, but it's just able to talk and learn more about you. And so it was great. And also thank you, family, for joining me for another episode of the Live Run Boundless podcast. Living a life outside the boundary you set to yourself. Now I can see that now Mr. Allen, he been doing that for a long time. He been going out the boundaries, you know, outside the boundaries, and reaching new heights. May fall down by getting back up and continue to live outside the boundaries. And so I'm being boundless in what he do. So thank you. Thank you, family. Thank you, Mr. Allen. And until next time, we'll see everybody soon.
Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, Kenneth, and really enjoy the interview.
I appreciate it. Yes.